So do you ever wish that, you could see into the future? Well, I've got somebody who can, kind of. It's going to clue us in now about all the massive things happening in the world of tech. Good morning to our local futurist, Mal Fletcher. How are you doing?
Great, Adam. How are you? Did you have a good Christmas?
I did. I had an absolutely wonderful Christmas with the family and visiting extended family and all sorts. Did you? Have you recovered yet?
Not quite. I'm working on it.
Well, I want to know, how exactly does being a futurist work, Mal? I mean, how do you predict things?
Well, it's really not just about prediction, Adam. That's a small part of it. The work that goes into it is more researching past shifts, not just trends on the surface, but shifts in the culture through to the present, and then extrapolating from that certain scenarios that might be in place if we continue along the same line, say over the next 10 to 20 years. The prediction part is the bit right at the end of all the hard work that goes into researching shifts that are ongoing in technology, in social values, in generational change, and so many other areas.
So how have your previous predictions panned out then? Did you predict anything last year or the year before that has actually come to fruition?
Yeah, some of them have. I mean, there's always some that are still in development. And oftentimes I'll say, look, this is a prediction for the next year or two, because you can't be sure of the date. But in general, I was looking back the other day at my predictions for last year, and some of them, including areas like surgical robotics, things like that, have become much more of a feature of everyday life than they were a couple of years ago.
Okay, so let's get into these tech predictions for the next year or two then. AI is a big topic in the world at the moment. I mean, what's going to happen with the AI revolution? And in your personal opinion, should we be worried about it?
Well, the next big thing in AI itself, there's two questions here. There's the AI itself, and there's what AI will do in education, healthcare, and jobs and so on. But AI itself, the next big thing is likely to be what we call Q star, Q as in Queen, star. It's a type of AI that is trained not using large language models, which are the type we're using with ChatGPT and so on. These particular new brand of AI are trained using mathematics and visual patterns, which means that there are exciting possibilities for developing machine systems that understand logic, which current AI doesn't do so well. This will make it easy for us to have fluid human-like conversations with machines, but it will also mean that AI chatbots, for example, in the classroom could help teachers to teach maths, to teach logic, to become tutors for students who have difficulty with learning in the classroom. So that could be a very big jump forward if it goes the way we think it might in the next 12 or so months.
Do you think there's any negatives to any of that, though?
Yeah, I think there are. I mean, one of them obviously is in the area of jobs. Some industries will be boosted because of technology, particularly AI-based technology. Others will be damaged. On the downside, I guess, jobs that will be threatened have to do with manufacturing in some cases and often office administration. Basically, any job that involves a lot of repetitive tasks is in danger of being automated. A 23 study by Oxford University and Deloitte found that 850,000 public sector jobs in the UK could be lost to automation by 2030.
Wow.
That's a lot of jobs. Another study by Oxford Economics found that robots could replace 20 million manufacturing jobs by 2030. So one of the challenges we all face, Adam, is underemployment, where people have a job, but they don't have enough work to meet their basic needs, not just financially, but psycho-emotionally. Like, work gives us the ability to face creative struggle, to solve problems, to make a meaningful contribution to society. So it's very important we have enough work to meet those emotional needs.
Is there any tech on your radar in the future, the next year or two, that is something we're going to see every day in our homes? Is there going to be any kind of drastic improvement to our lives that way with tech?
Well, I think it's not just in our homes, but if you're talking about the tech that really affects our lives on a daily basis, one of them would be personalised medicine. AI is already starting to push the boundaries in medicine by accurately analysing a patient's individual history, genetics, lifestyle factors, and then recommending to the doctor a more personalised treatment plan. And we're going to see a lot more of that incorporated into medical practice in 2024. I think in the area of education, we'll see the beginnings of immersive learning experiences. So imagine, you're a student, you're learning a language in a fully immersive environment rather than piecemeal in a classroom, or you're studying historical events by actually visiting them in virtual space.
Wow.
When you combine things like AI with existing virtual reality, you're able to do all of that and more. You can be undergoing role-playing training, for example. If you're in areas like therapy, if you have a therapeutic job, you could learn a lot by being placed in virtual reality situations driven by artificial intelligence in real time.
Wow. I mean, tech is accelerating at such a speed, the fastest it's ever accelerated in history right now. Do you envisage our lives being completely different in the next 5 or, say, 10 years?
The future always is less unfamiliar to us than we sometimes think. We're still flying in planes now that were basically designed in the 1970s or 80s.
Yeah.
They've had new iterations, but the basic design's the same. So there are things that change and things that don't. One of the big challenges, though, going forward, because of the pace of change of things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, that side of technology, is keeping up with the ethics, getting ahead of the ethics and making sure the machines remain servants. There are many issues ethically. There's the issue of deliberation, the question of will AI be able to rein itself in even if we can't or don't. There's the questions of latency. This has been a big one in studies of autonomous weapons in warfare. Will AI systems go on producing outcomes long after their use-by date or after we think we've turned them off? In war, landmines go on maiming and killing people long after the end of the conflict. Will AI systems be capable of that? And the other one that's huge, the big question of accountability. Will it always be possible for us to trace every AI system back to a developer and a user so that someone is accountable for things that are done by that machine learning system? So these are big ethical questions, and we have to start looking at bringing together diverse groups of people now to discuss them, not just politicians and technologists who both have a vested interest, but people from philosophy, from physics, from ethics, from mathematics, from engineering, from theology, to discuss what it means to be human and therefore where we should draw the line between man and machine.
So, final question for you. We, of course, have, robots that can mow our lawn. We have cars that can drive us around. How long until we have someone that will do all the housework and cook our food for us?
Boy, if I knew the answer to that one, I'd make an awful lot of money. I think probably we're a little way off from that yet, although the Internet of Things has picked up speed more than anybody really envisaged 5 years ago. So the Internet of Things is the little devices, planted in almost, or so many of our everyday objects now that send and receive information from the Internet. Like Fitbits are part of the Internet of Things. So the data generation that's going on now is exponentially higher than it was 10 years ago, and it will be much, much higher, say, in the next 2 years. We'll have to be very smart, first of all, and as I said before, making sure the machines remain our servants, not our masters. But we'll also need to learn the difference between intelligence and consciousness. Just because a thing is intelligent doesn't mean, or seems intelligent to us, doesn't mean it has consciousness in the way that human beings do. So we shouldn't be afraid of the tech. We should engage it, get the best from it, but also draw lines as to how far we want it to go.
Absolutely. Completely fascinating conversation. I could go on for hours, but for now, as ever, an absolute pleasure. Local futurist Mal Fletcher. Have a very happy new year, Mal. Really lovely to chat to you.
And you, Adam. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. All right.